All right, everybody, we are back for the next episode here. Take a look. We're gonna start demoing now. Here's what we're gonna do. We got the oscillating saw. You want to be very careful during this process because we're actually gonna start removing the floor as far forward as we can go, and then we're gonna do the same on that side, and essentially we're gonna try to break out the floor. All this is gonna come out. We are going to leave the engine mount for right now, and then these, as far as I can see, they're pretty solid. Yeah, no real reason right now to dig into this part or the actual mount here, so we'll leave those alone. What we're going to do is make sure you got a fresh blade. You can see on mine, it's kind of dull, but what I like to do with these, with the bimetals, is it's kind of hard to gauge when to replace it, and the general principle that I go with, because just from experience, is when this starts to smoke as you're cutting, it pretty much tells you it's building up a lot of friction and the blade needs to get replaced. So that's a good rule of thumb when it starts to smoke a little bit. Now if it starts smoking a lot, obviously you need to stop immediately because you're going to start a fire. So anyway, we'll suit up here, and you'll hear my voice change once I put on my mask. And I'm going to start slicing on this big piece. That'll take a little bit to cut that, and then we'll work all the way down. Shouldn't be too long. This floor is not very thick, but what you want to do is follow the contour of the outer shell of the boat. So one thing you don't want to do is cut like that. That's a huge mistake. And you could technically just cut like that, but what's going to happen is your angle isn't correct. So to get the right or the correct angle, you want to place your blade up against the outer shell of the boat and work it down like that. This way, for sure, you're not going to go all the way through. And if you do, on my last rebuild that I did, I actually went through the bottom once. It's easy fix. You'll see as we get later on into the series. It's not that big of a deal. But anyway, so here's your step-by-step, right? So what I'm going to do, like I said, is I'll suit up and I'll start cutting this all the way through. And once I get to these little, they look like 2x4s, I'll cut those out too. We're not going to be using them. We'll just slice along this edge, slice along the bottom and the sides. Yours may not have this. It's just an add-on that they did with this boat. And we'll work as far forward as we can. And then probably we'll cut we may bust out the circular saw, we'll see, and rip all the way over here. Maybe the same over there. And then we'll call this, the first section of the demo, and then we'll work that way. When we get under there, it's going to get a little bit more tricky. As you can imagine, demoing, you're going to be in a confined space, so you have to be very, very careful about working in those kind of spaces. But same principle. We're going to rip the outer part of the shell off all the way down. You can cut small sections out, like if you want. It just takes more time. What you could do in reality is rip it out all in once, just throw it outside the boat, expose all the foam that's underneath. It just makes it easier. Otherwise you're going to build up a lot of debris in here, so it's easier that way. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and suit up, and we will start cutting in here. Make sure you got some extra blades and have all your protective gear around.
All right, take a look at the progress so far. So that is the original blade that you saw in there, plus another one. I made it about, I don't know, it's like 3 feet or so. And you can see why I'm doing this is I'm slicing it is just like we talked about, straight down that way. Now the importance of slicing it as close as you can, and to be honest with you, that's the thickest part, is because it's going to cut down on sanding. You see I have a big, huge roll these 4.5 inch 80 grit sandpaper that go on a wheel is because you have to sand this down afterwards, and it creates so much powder. It's really annoying. I mean, it gets all over everything. So do yourself a favor and try to cut as close as you can to that edge with this oscillating tool, because what it'll do, it's better to slice this off thin so you don't make that much of a mess. So anyway, remember, bimetal blades, the bimetal blades are the way to go with when you're using this. And you're going to need, realistically, if you're planning on doing your whole boat like I am, you can go cheap and buy like these 20 packs. But really what you want to do is you want to get a pack of 75. They sell them on Amazon. They're about $1 a piece. And yeah, they're definitely going to be worth it. And you will go through a lot. And the other thing too, you'll need, we'll talk more about it in the later episodes once the floor gets out. But you can also buy these Nico 80 grit sanding wheels. Huge benefit. You'll see we're going to go through these like crazy too, but this is the only way to go to get everything nice and clean. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and switch my blade, and I'm going to keep rock and rolling. Believe it or not, I don't have that much further to go, so we'll see how it goes here. All right, excellent progress here. Surprisingly, I haven't gone through as many blades as I thought I was going to. Went and sliced around here. I was going to slice this off, but I said, you know what, I'll just slice it away from the outer shell and then just pull it out as I get further down. So I'm kind of getting to that point. I'm about right here. I think what I'm going to do is probably right after this, I'll probably turn my blade and start cutting to try to create a straight edge to here, and take this piece out all at once, and then kind of do the same thing over there. That's going to be my plan here so far. So yeah, maybe about another foot, and then we'll switch over to the other side. Pretty good. Moving right along. Cut right past it, and then you can see I made a beeline here. Check this out. Oh, that is, I'll tell you right now, if you haven't already figured it out, that's a terrible sign. Terrible. Anyway, I ran all the way over here and my blade ran out right along where this debris is. So I'll switch my blade out and we'll start working backwards that way. All right. So we're coming back around the other way, making fantastic progress. I just cut up along here. So you can kind of see past my oscillating tool here. I've got maybe, I don't know, like 4 more feet to go. And then what we're going to do is you're going to see me grab probably right here and see if we can rip this thing off. So I'm not really sure what the condition is of the stringers underneath, or really how they're held in. I imagine maybe, hopefully, screws. But who knows what the condition of the screws are at this point. Probably not in very good shape. So anyway, we'll finish cutting down here, go all the way to the end, and try to lift this thing up in the air. So we'll see how it goes. All right, you can see the dust is still kicking around, but I made it all the way. So let's recap here. We started over there, we cut, we made a cut along this way, and voila, we're back at the very end. So, as promised, let's see what happens. Ready? Ooh, we got foam under there. That's a good sign. Let's try this side. Ooh, geez. All right, guys. That's enough for this episode. I hope you like this specific video. I'll catch you on the next episode. Stay tuned. Like the video, subscribe if you thought it was helpful.